You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
X-Men. Get it!
Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Atom. This is your weekly X-Men podcast where we rank every story from A to Z.
I'm Hell Adam.
And I'm the bad demon boy of X-Men podcasting, Ghost Zack. Hi, Adam.
Hey, Ghost Zack. What's up?
So, you wanted to do this, and you know what I thought we should have done instead of that bit?
Oh, you
That
wanted
joke?
to do a different intro bit? What did you want to do?
Well, I mean, I just thought that people could call us Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, because, baby, it's a long Halloween this year.
Halloween.
It's still Halloween on Battle of the Atom.
It sure is. It's not over till we say it is over. And as promised, this is week 2 of our spooky celebrations. But Zach, we're doing something different. These are not Halloween stories per se. What are we doing this week?
We're doing Ghost Rider stories, and here's why. I want people to know this.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's always known that Ghost Rider's cool because he's a flaming skeleton on a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But earlier this year, I got into reading Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
And I know, Adam, you got into reading Ghost Rider, and now we just like Ghost Rider now.
To be specific, I went back at your recommendation and read Ghost Rider Volume 3, the Danny Ketch era, that has some really amazing Mark Teixeira art for like maybe 20, 25 issues, either inks or pencils and inks. And that is a lot of fun. Like, if you just like
great.
comics, it's fun to read.
It's great because do you know what doesn't come up in those 20 to 25 issues?
A resolution of any kind?
Also, yes, but I was going to say the words Zartharos and Nobokale, which are the things that will turn me off of a Ghost Rider story so quick. I do not care about the lore of Ghost Rider. I care that he's an on-fire skeleton.
No, if anything, he's like constantly rejecting that lore and being like, that ain't me. I'm just this Ghost Rider guy. I don't know what you're talking about. It's great.
I'm just the dude. And, well, really, I'm going to say two dudes, and they're two identical dudes for the most part.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's other dudes and lady dudes who are also Ghost Riders, as there have been throughout time. My personal favorite, and this is a recent fave, Adam. My personal favorite alternate Ghost Rider is Zero Cochran, the Ghost Rider of 2099. Can I tell you about Zero for a second?
Please do. This is the one with Chris Bachalo art on the first issue, correct?
It's the first couple of issues. He does some art. He does art for the first issue, and then he gets credited as breakdowns for a couple of issues. And then I haven't gotten too deep into it, but it looks like Mark Buckingham's just kind of like doing it himself now.
Hey,
which is
great. Okay.
Great. So it still looks like early 90s Chris Bachalo.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's the thing. So Zero, he is a Antifa punk,
Nice.
whose brain gets uploaded into a robot.
Nice.
After he dies, he becomes a ghost in the shell.
Oh, that's great.
And one of his arms has a extendable chainsaw that he does use in issue. The last page of issue 1 is you figuring out that he has a chainsaw, that he is some sort of proto chainsaw man. Issue 2, he immediately uses that chainsaw to cut a dude in half.
Nice. Yeah.
Like,
that's what I want.
It's great. By the end of issue 2, he's yelling at the police about how much he hates them.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of insane. Lynn Kaminsky, I don't know what you were on in 1995, but I want some of that, buddy.
Well, I will definitely be checking that out. But our readers may not be as familiar with Ghost Rider, as this is an X-Men podcast. So we promise that all of our stories today will not just be Ghost Rider stories, but they will involve X-Men.
They will, and those X-Men will largely be Wolverine, because, well,
yes.
I don't know what to tell you. The 90s were a heck of a time.
Yeah, it's not that Ghost Rider hasn't already been discussed on this show. Like, we've done Brood Feud and Brood Feud 2 and Hearts of Darkness. So some of that stuff will come back into play this episode. But these are totally different stories.
These are just other stories about Ghost Rider. Our friend,
Yes.
Ghost Rider. Our
Mhm.
good friend, Ghost Rider, who is an on fire skeleton man, who I truly, this is not ironic. Some of the things I say on this show start from ironic jokes and then just devolve into madness. Like, I have a
Sure.
framed picture of X-Man on the wall. I shouldn't have that. Like, that got
Zack-
out of hand.
Zach, do you remember being at the con and walking past a booth and shouting my name loudly because I was at a vendor across the aisle? And I turn around and you are holding all 100 issues of X-Man in a single shrink wrapped package going, buy this! You need this!
Adam, it was a brick of X-Man. It was an entire brick of X-Man. I don't
was.
know why you didn't buy that.
Yeah, I don't think that I needed to come home with me. I only had so much space in the luggage to begin with. That certainly wasn't coming home, but it was very funny.
I forgot about that. But do you know what makes that weekend and every weekend tolerable, Adam?
I'm gonna guess our lovely patrons.
That's right. All of the great people at patreon.com/battleoftheatom. They make this show possible. They let us get away with talking about Ghost Rider 2 weeks after Halloween because we kind of just need this right now.
Yep.
Full disclosure, folks, because timing-wise, we obviously record things ahead of time. We're recording this on election night, and we're just like, this is our hour to think about our friend Ghost Rider right now.
We're
That's
just
what-
vibing. We're just vibing.
We're just enjoying Ghost Rider instead of the, anxiety.
Other stuff we could be worrying about.
Other stuff that exists.
Yeah.
Hey, if folks, you want to be like our patrons, you can go over to patreon.com/battleoftheatom, reach deep down into your hearts and pocketbooks, and toss a couple of coins right into our ghostly coffers.
Ooh.
And from there, I don't know, stuff will happen.
Yeah, from there we
You'll
have a
get an
spooky good
episode.
time. You know?
Yeah, we'll do a whole episode based around something you want us to do instead of us subjecting X-Men fans to Ghost Rider content. Because I'm going to be honest, all these stories do have X-Men in them, but I'm here for my Fiery Boy. And the first Fiery Boy we've got to talk about, Adam, is a sequel to a comic that I know you have a lot of fondness for. I'm talking, of course, about Ghost Rider, Punisher, Wolverine, The Dark Design.
Yes. This is Howard Mackey and Ron Garney, inks by Al Milgram. This is from December of 1994, and it is the official sequel to, yes, we've talked about this book many times on this show. We've even reviewed it and added it to the big old list, but this is the sequel to Hearts of Darkness. So Mackey's back, but JR is not, unfortunately. And this is a very odd continuation of that story, which I thought was pretty much wrapped up.
It feels like it was pretty much wrapped up. Now, Ron Garney at this point had been the primary artist on Ghost Rider for like 20 or 12-ish issues.
Okay.
Now, this is kind of the cap of his time. He'll jump over to Captain America soon after this.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't dislike Ron Garney at all. In fact, I think he has done a lot of really cool stuff over the years. The problem is he's not John Romita Jr.
Well, there's two different things happening here with this book that are interesting. And I did have to really slow down and be like, hey, you love Hearts of Darkness, but you also know that this is not going to be Hearts of Darkness. So like try and take this on its own merit and not like every page just say it's, not the same. Because I was getting into that the first time I was reading it. And I went back and I reread a lot of it. Ron Garney is doing a really good job with the artwork in this. I thought it was fantastic. I think if there's a detriment to it, it's that Paul Mounts is coloring in sort of the advent of digital coloring here. And so it's really influenced. The artwork is very much influenced by a lot of the digital coloring that Mounts is doing with a lot of the color fades and things like that make this book look very stylistically different than what Hearts of Darkness looked like.
Which I think is disappointing because Garney is not as dissimilar an artist as John Romita Jr. as this comic would portray him to be. You know,
Yes,
like I've seen Ron Garney stuff where he's doing like high contrast stuff, like almost like a 80s Frank Miller or early 90s Frank Miller style to him, and I think that could really work for this story. So I don't necessarily think his art is an issue. I think you're spot on that the coloring on it throws everything off because Hearts of Darkness is that like early 90s looking John Romita Jr. art with still those flat colors, and John's doing a real stylized look to everything. So he's got his weird Daredevil Mephisto who just looks otherworldly, and that Daredevil Mephisto's in this comic as well.
right.
But the coloring makes it look like the one boss from Super Metroid in the lava pit, who I'm forgetting. And Super Metroid boss lava pit. Adam, I told you don't let me Google things right now. Why
I know, but
letting...
I'm letting you Google a Metroid villain. That's not going to hurt you.
Crocomere. It's Crocomere. He looks like Crocomere.
Okay.
I'm going to send you. Do you know Crocomere from Super Metroid?
I don't know this character at all.
This is Crocomere from Super Metroid. And tell me that his Mephisto doesn't look like Crocomere from the Super Metroid, but with some nipples.
Yeah, that's pretty dead on. It is weird to see Garney trying to adapt these things that were very specific to JRJR, including the Black Heart design, which it's weird. Garney gives Blackheart a jacket for some reason. I'm like, that's
it was
weird.
1994.
Everybody
it was the
had
custom of the time.
And he's got the JRJR Mephisto, but he's not quite there with the design. It looks a little strange, and the color palette is so really drastically different than what John Wellington was doing on the original Hearts of Darkness, which had a much more muted tone of olive greens and washed out pinks and things like that in the mix. That this has a very different feel. I think the other thing that's really weird about this book is if you're opening it and expecting another quiet tale like Hearts of Darkness is, the very first thing you see in this book is if everybody remembers from Hearts of Darkness, there was a young girl with potential psychic abilities named Lucy Crumb, who is now like an adolescent older teen and is being chased down by like basically Cyberforce. Like these look like characters that are like out of a Chris Claremont, they're hounds or something. They're dressed in leather. They're armed with machine guns. And you're like, wait, what book am I reading? This is crazy.
It's a weird opening to everything. Ghost Rider is also there. His head's on fire, which is great.
Yep.
I'm going to be honest. I do love that Ghost Rider is there, but the problem is that Ghost Rider gets corrupted, right?
Yes. Well, the basic premise of this is that Blackheart is still trying to take his dad's job. So he has corrupted all of Christchurch, which is the same small town as the first book, but now it looks like some I don't know, techno paradise of some kind. Like it's gone from like a small town to futuristic dystopia overnight, and he's corrupting these people into these leather outfits, and I don't know.
It's weird. Anyway, everyone has to fight. Punisher and Wolverine show up.
Yeah.
They were drawn to this. Punisher and Wolverine show up because they need to. That's what happens.
Mr. Frank, Mr. Logan, responding to Lucy's psychic calls again, and they've wound up here, but the other weird thing about this book, I feel like I just keep adding weird things to the list, even though I don't know if I hated this, is that Blackheart seems to want to marry Lucy. I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't. He's a demon. I'm going to let him get away with bad behavior, but it's his plot's nonsensical. And Adam, we are both fans of Howard Mackey's Ghost Rider.
Oh, yeah.
At least the first 20-some issues.
It's all vibes, baby.
Can you tell me what happens in Howard Mackey's Ghost Rider in any way, shape, or form? Can you give me any plot synopsis whatsoever? Or can you give me vibes?
The glory of that run is that it's very much like Larry Hama's Wolverine in that it just keeps going and going and going and doubling down. And it's so serialized that it's not the kind of thing where you can just say this is like beginning, middle, end, what the saga is for this character. And this issue doesn't have that luxury. It does have to wrap up before it, hits the last page, but it's retreading ground that we've already been in with these characters. Like all three of the protagonists are thrust back into like, a terrible time in their past. And it's like
Wolverine has a Weapon X flashback. Punisher's like, my family died. And Danny, this is Danny. He's sad that his sister died.
Yeah.
That his sister died.
But even
which is
Wolverine
the opening of Ghost Rider #1. So it's not like a shock.
No, but all of these characters this has happened to them before. You know what I mean? And even Wolverine, as he's experiencing it, is like, yeah, this trick doesn't work on me. Like, I don't know why you're even trying.
Which is really funny in 1994. It's really funny. By 1994, Wolverine was like, look, we've gone to the Weapon X well a lot in the last 2.5 years.
Yeah, do we have to do this again?
We got to do something else. It was a great story. We all love Barry Windsor Smith. We got to do literally anything else.
Well, just hold your hat, folks listening at home, because this will happen again this episode. We will get Weapon X references in another story.
He can't escape it. Everyone wants to do a Weapon X of their own. I understand this. I feel the same compulsion because I also feel like I could just make all of Weapon X work. Me, a guy who doesn't want to and has no skill or ability to write comics. I'm like, I could make Weapon X work, right?
Sure.
Like,
why not?
I could be the one to do it.
Yeah.
So I get the compulsion.
Yeah.
They all fight, and Blackheart's like, y'all, don't you also want to kill my father, Mephisto, the actual real devil?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, but like, you suck too.
We don't want you to take his job. And what's funny about
you're also bad.
Yeah, you might be worse. The what's funny about this though is that this issue, this one shot, does end with Blackheart getting blood from Lucy onto a knife. So the blood of an innocent, and he does, at least this is how this one shot ends. He does stab and kill Mephisto and become the new king of hell.
Right between Mephisto's big blue nipples, he just shoves a knife.
Yeah. I mean, wow. I mean, I'm assuming this didn't stick for very long, but Blackheart wins.
Hey, here's the secret. Because again, guys, here's the truth. After the Midnight Suns crossover, collections of Ghost Rider Volume 2 kind of fall apart. And I know that all of this stuff becomes a thing in the future with Blackheart and all that, but like, I haven't read it. I'll get to it eventually. It's just, it goes on for like a while, right? It just keeps going. And it's going to get into Zarthos and Noble Kale and Vengeance. Adam, you know about Vengeance, right? The new Ghost Rider Vengeance?
Which one is Vengeance?
Michael Badliano.
Is he the one that drives a car?
No, you're thinking of Robbie Reyes, Robbie Reyes is not a good character in so much that he's never been written well.
It's an amazing design.
Literally, and here's the honest truth about Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider, it's arguable if Ghost Rider has ever been in an actual good story. I would argue yes, but I also understand that most of my feelings about Ghost Rider are looking at something and going, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
like
that's gnarly.
That's what I need out of Ghost Rider.
Mm-hmm.
But when Ghost Rider is drawn by, I don't know, Clayton Crane, Mike Teixeira, by John Romita Jr., by Trad Moore. It rules.
Yeah.
And I just, like, I can't get enough of it. Anyway, Michael Bagliano, his name is Vengeance. He's terrible.
Not a good Ghost Rider?
You know how Ghost Rider was a staple of, like, Marvel Comics Presents?
Oh, yeah.
Well, eventually they needed a cooler, more metal, groovier Ghost Rider, so they invented Vengeance.
Wait. I know this character. Does he have like a big purple mask?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
That's the one, the big purple one.
Yeah, that's a weird look.
Yeah, Vengeance is bad. People try and bring Vengeance back every once in a while. They should not do that. I'm sorry. Hold on. Is that a Peach Momoko Vengeance?
Oh, that's fun. Okay. If anybody could make it work, I bet she could.
Oh, no. She just drew regular Ghost Rider. Hey, fun fact. Adam, I'm going to send you this picture just so you can see it. Because guess what? It rules.
Shocking.
Folks,
shocking that Peach Momoko would draw something and it would look good.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you. Just look at any picture of Ghost Rider and you'll be like, yeah, this rules, right? Not Vengeance, who does not appear in Dark Design. Anyway, the one other thing, you're spot on about Garny. Looking at his art in this, like, there's some pages that really stand out and are just held the heck back by the coloring.
Yeah, I mean, there's a really great splash page of Punisher looking down on Wolverine from the top of a building, and I'm like, that's a really good drawing. I'm like, but I don't understand where the light is coming from. Like, there's these weird reflections of light on his face, and it just confuses things visually. So it makes for a confused read tonally when I was just expecting something a little bit more along the lines of what came before it. So I applaud them for trying something different. I just don't think it ultimately works.
I don't think it does either, but I'd also say, listen, if you like that Bone Boy, then maybe you should read this. And maybe, Adam, we should find where it belongs on our big old list.
Yeah, what is this big old list we talk about?
Well, see, we're on a road, much like Ghost Rider always is. We are on a road to 1,000. Ghost Rider is on a road to hell, I guess, or highway, if you will. We aren't, unless it's a hell of our own making, which is reading and ranking every X-Men story. We've ranked 966 so far, with the best being House of X Powers of 10, the 300th best being Nothing Can Stop the Juggernaut from Amazing Spider-Man, the 600th best being X-Men No More Humans, the original graphic novel, the 900th best being X-Men Forever, and 266 is 2099 World of Tomorrow. Just to be clear, that X-Men Forever is the Fabian Nicieza X-Men Forever, not the Chris Claremont long-running series. Adam, where do we have Hearts of Darkness?
Hearts of Darkness is at 344. I don't think.
Yeah, we're way lower.
Don't think that's this high. Brood Trouble in the Big Easy is at 357. I think this is lower.
How do you feel about it compared to 765 Brood Feud 2?
I think it's better than that.
It's better than Brood Feud 2. It is.
Yeah.
You're right. I don't think this is a horrible comic. I think it is cursed with being a sequel to a great comic, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's a fan favorite, and it's coming back and trying to do a sequel, and it's definitely not hitting as hard. So,
but I think this is better than Deadpool Bad Blood at 366.
Oh, you want to put it that high?
I mean, listen, let's look around what's here. Do you think this is better than or do you think this is worse than Ghost Box from Astonishing X-Men?
No.
Because it's not. That's the thing. Like, this is still pretty good. It's just not this is good for a certain value of good. And that value of good is when your judgment of good involves an on-fire motorcycle skeleton.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe more in the 500s. Like, I'm looking at 521 is the Spider-Man Nightcrawler Punisher team up from Amazing Spider-Man.
Spider-Man Nightcrawler Punisher is better.
Yeah, like I think that's, Spider-Man versus Wolverine's at 524. We're in similar territory here, I feel like.
We are in Wolverine team up areas.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it compared to WMD Weapons of Mutant Destruction?
I gotta be honest, I think I like this more.
Okay.
But I wouldn't put it
The-
that much higher. I saw you highlighted 2020 I Wolverine, and I think that's exactly the same kind of level, right? Like this is a fun action story, but
I would say it's worse than 2020 I Wolverine.
yeah.
I think it is worse than, you know what? I would say we have a couple of stories right here that it's right in line with. Like right around here. It's Gambit Tombstone Blues from
Mhm.
Gambit Volume 5, Hunt
Yep.
for Wolverine, Mystery and Mad Report, and Wolverine's Revenge from the Jason Aaron stuff.
Yeah.
Which other people like more than us.
I feel like I would put this ahead of those three. I would just slot this right under I Wolverine.
Okay, that's great. Then it's our new 547.
So for fans of Hearts of Darkness, don't go into it with a lot of preconceived notions. Just go in fresh and, be open to it. It's not bad. It's got some fun stuff in it.
Well, other fun stuff that is not in that comic, but is in different comics, is fun stuff like Ghost Rider Volume 3, Number 9, by Howard Mackey and Javier Soteres, with inks, of course, by Mark Teixeira and Jimmy Palmiotti, actually.
That's right. So this is from that run that we've been talking about so glowingly, pun intended.
And it's early in that run. So early that, like, X Factor is still a going concern. Like, X Factor that Cyclops was on.
Yes, this is post Inferno X Factor crossing over with Ghost Rider, and it's
Kind
an
of.
odd combo.
Because here's what happens. Ghost Rider is just doing more Ghost Rider things. Like Blackout is in him are fighting, which is what happens in almost every one of the first, like, 20 issues of this comic. He's like, Blackout, you jerk.
Yeah, Blackout, for folks who don't know, is a character who can make lights go out and then murders you. He's also got
kind of a vampire.
Yeah, he's kind of like an energy vampire, and he got messed up by Ghost Rider, and one of his eyes is like bulging out of the left side of his head.
He is just a weird little freak that hates Danny Ketch.
Yes. Yes, and he's caught on to Ghost Rider's secret identity. He wants to kill Danny's girlfriend, why she wants to be with Danny, I don't know, because every time they go on a date, he leaves her.
Danny is literally the worst dude.
Oh, he's awful.
To date. He's not. The one thing that I think there's been a lot of missteps with Ghost Rider in the 2000s, and I especially think there's been missteps around the usage of Danny Ketch, a character who is better in a better design than Johnny Blaze, but whose last name isn't Blaze.
That's true.
Even though it kind of isn't not Blaze is the weird thing.
I mean, what does fire do but catch?
But the one thing I think they've done right with Danny Ketch is leaned into the fact that, like, he's just an absolute messy screw up of a dude.
Oh, 100%.
And, like, so many stories are about how, like, Danny is mad that he is not the primary Ghost Rider anymore because he should be. And the problem is I'm agreeing with Danny every time he goes through somebody's experiment to be another Ghost Rider again.
Well,
and
what
I'm
else
like,
does
you're right, though, Danny.
Yeah, what else does Danny have? I mean, he's terrible at relationships. He's terrible at, like, protecting his mother. He's terrible at being a boyfriend to his girlfriend who's studying to be a cop. And he's only good at prowling the cemetery until he needs to turn into Ghost Rider. And
he just mostly drives around Cypress Hill Cemetery, which cannot be that big.
But this is the location where apparently there have been multiple child abductions. So Danny is investigating this. And this is where our X-Men connection starts to come in, because it turns out that these children have not technically been abducted. They have been saved by a group of Morlocks who are protecting these children from Mask.
Yeah. And you know who appears here, and it's an X-Men character we all know and love.
That's right. I hope fans are ready for the earliest appearance of Pixie.
I want folks to just know this is not the Welsh lady. This is a different character named Pixie who looks exactly like a pixie.
Right. She's got little like butterfly antenna basically and like wings.
She's got wings. The wings are kind of, and she's got like pink wings. Like that's the big part, right?
Yeah. She's also been mutilated by Mask to have like basically a satanic goat leg. So she's not happy about that and wants to protect the kids.
Or she's just like, by the way, Mask sucks, and pulls up her skirt and sticks out her weird like Baba Yaga house leg.
Yes.
Bring it a while. Javier Soteres does a great job with this. There is such an energy to this comic that I am enamored by. Like, it feels cool in 90s and great.
Yeah, I also think for those who are wondering, Teixeira will eventually take over this book, but Teixeira has such a really big personality coming out in the inks on the pages that he does that you can see his influence from the very first issue. And you can see like, Teixeira involved. It's a real partnership between the two of them.
Teixeira really is like, he is inking this in the same way that like Bill Sienkiewicz would ink some Steve Leialoha stuff in
Right.
New Mutants, where it was so different from everything else that Leialoha would do. The inker made such an impact, and eventually Teixeira becomes the primary artist on the book.
Mm-hmm.
And then the primary artist on Ghost Rider in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Which rules.
So because there's missing children afoot and potentially they're also maybe mutants, X Factor is going to get into the mix. They are going to leave Nathan with Ship and head out on a super rad little spaceship thing they've got and head over to the cemetery and try and check things out. And this is where, like, you were joking about this when we started talking about the book. It's not really a crossover. They don't really cross paths very much.
They don't run into each other. Like, X Factor is dealing with the same problem as them. Meanwhile, Ghost Rider finds Blackout, and they just start fighting.
Awesome.
Blackout does a gnarly on-page murder of Pixie. Like, legitimately, when I looked, I was like, man, they got away with that in 1991? I mean, good for them, but woof!
Yeah, I mean, he basically bites out her neck, doesn't he? Like, it's pretty messed up.
Then Ghost Rider does what I think is one of the best things I've ever seen. He knows he needs his motorcycle to do something.
Zach, we forgot to talk about Heart.
Oh, we did forget to talk about Heart.
Howard Mackie in these first couple of issues also adds into the mix, despite the fact that we've got multiple supervillains chasing after Ghost Rider, including the like local PD. He has invented this all-girl assassin squad called Heart, Heart, who I would love for someone to bring these people back. They are hilarious. They're all just 80s action like cliches, and yet they're these like sexy ladies with big lasers and helmets who are all reporting to their boss sitting in a chair somewhere, but they have a helicopter and their goal is to abduct Ghost Rider's motorcycle. And they do, and then what happens?
Well, first we'll get to that. First, I just need you to know, do you know what Heart stands for?
Oh, right. Heart. Just tell them, because I don't have it pulled up.
Humans engaging in all racial terrorism.
Yes,
which is a weird.
It's a very
I don't know.
Name.
I don't know what racial terror. I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
They are a multicultural group.
Well, that's
racial terrorism doesn't sound
great.
That doesn't seem like the right way that you should name your organization. Heart.
It is quite funny though. Like each one of them is basically a stereotype. Like Irish is like walking around talking in an Irish accent, and it's very silly.
Yeah, but they want the motorcycle. And what Ghost Rider does when he wants his motorcycle, he just yells really loud. He just stares up at the sky and goes, "Ah!" And then his motorcycle comes to him out of a helicopter, and he rides off into fighting, or he sends the kids on his motorcycle.
Yeah, they take a
And
little ride.
He fights Blackout. X Factor comes down and said, "What in the world was going on here?"
Yeah. Should we be
Ghost Rider.
fighting
then
Ghost Rider?
explodes out of the rubble. He just explodes out of the rubble. No comment. Grabs his motorcycle that's back and drives away. And here's the thing: I know at least 2 members of X Factor have lived with a Ghost Rider for a short period of time. But I do like to think that both Bobby and Warren were like, "Man, that guy was weird, right?" Like,
yeah. I don't know what that was.
Was that Johnny?
No.
Like, did he not say hi to us?
That is not
What's going
mentioned
on
at all. They're just like, what was that? And Cyclops is basically, I don't know, it's above our pay grade. Like, we're just here to
That's how the issue ends. X Factor's like, well, we found some mutant kids. They don't seem like they're in trouble anymore. We should deal with Mask at some point.
Yeah.
End of issue. That guy was weird and he just drove away. I love it. See,
I love it too.
That's the thing. That's the thing about these early 90s Ghost Riders, is that they're not conventionally good comics, but they are well drawn, well paced, and engaging comics. And sometimes there's nights. And Adam, I don't know if you've had nights like this. Sometimes there's nights where I don't want to think about anything except for my on fire motorcycle skeleton friend who is screaming for vengeance.
If you are into action movie vibes with like a horror twist to them, I mean, you can't get better than some of this stuff. It's just really fun, action packed, and a little gruesome at times, like we said. But this one is quite funny in spots, and it's just more of the same if you like this issue. So I like this better than what we were just talking about, the dark design.
I do, but it's not as good as Brood Trouble and the Big Easy.
No, and that is at what is Brood Trouble
that's
at?
up a ways. That's in the 300s. But like, let's see, 500 on the list right now is the X-Men: The Last Stand Collector's Edition DVD movie with comic books.
I think we got to give that the edge. I think this is probably in the 500s.
Then it's above Breaking Point. Then it's above Kieran Gillen's first real arc of X-Men ever.
That works for me. So this is going to be our 501 Ghost Rider Volume 3, number 9. And we're going to go to a very recent story for our last arc here. Zach, what is this last one?
Oh, it's Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Weapons of Vengeance.
Weapons of Vengeance, a 4-issue Wolverine Ghost Rider crossover that I guess was happening like during the Fall of X. Is that right?
It was, yes. So Wolverine's Fall of X arc was, we're going to do Wolverine team up for a little bit.
Yeah.
And writer Ben Percy was also like, well, I want to do a team up of Wolverine and Ghost Rider, who is my other book that I'm writing right now. He was largely doing that with Corey Smith, who honestly I kind of love the Ben Percy Ghost Rider. It's Ben Percy is so much smarter of a writer outside of comics than he is in comics, but he's very smart in comics because he knows what he's doing. He knows he was hired to write Wolverine and Ghost Rider. So he's going to be like, I'm going to find a way to do a slightly elevated and engaging, but still mostly dumb, badass action story. Yes. I am going to channel your Howard Mackeys, your Larry Hamas. I'm going to bring all of that together and put it into this little treat with Jeff Shaw called Wolverine Ghost Rider Weapons of Vengeance. Adam, had you been reading the Ben Percy Ghost Rider?
Oh, no. I didn't even know he was writing it, really. I think I was vaguely aware of it, but it's Johnny Blaze again, which I didn't know.
It's Johnny, but Johnny has been Ghost Rider since, like, Johnny's been the primary Ghost Rider since, like, 2000. Like, right. I've accepted that.
For a while, yeah.
Because they had Danny, what did they do? They had Danny be a Ghost Rider in, like, the Daniel Way, Jason Aaron kind of era, but he was, like, a blue one, and he was working for I hate that I know this. He was, I think, working for Zadakel, who was like the Angel of Vengeance, but not the actual Angel of Vengeance.
Oh boy.
But like an Angel of Vengeance who like
Sure.
powered Zarathos or something, and that was bad. And then not Ben Percy, Ed Brisson, in a run that COVID cut short, that was honestly disappointing because going back to it, Brisson was cooking.
Hmm.
Ed Brisson had Danny be like, well, if Mephisto is Ghost Rider's devil, why don't we give Danny a different devil that he could be the weapon of?
Ooh, smart.
He was like, let's make Danny Belasco's Ghost Rider.
Oh, that's fun.
And he got like a sword. They do a Hearts of Darkness riff in there that unfortunately gets COVID hit.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Disappointing because it was a really fun little beat right there. And then in Ben Percy's Ghost Rider, Project Hellfire, you know about Project Hellfire.
Yes, it's essentially an extension of the Weapon X program, right?
Yeah, Project Hellfire gets more or less introduced in the arc right before this, where they try and turn Danny Ketch into a green Ghost Rider wearing the Weapon X helmet.
Insane. It's insane.
I love it. I love it so much. And here's the thing. Here's the other thing that I love about Ben Percy's comics writing. You know how Ben Percy gave Wolverine a buddy. Jeff Bannister.
Jeff Bannister is here.
Jeff Bannister is here. Well, guess what? Ghost Rider's Ben Percy buddy is also here.
Yeah,
and
Talia.
I love her. Talia Warroad. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She is a former SHIELD agent, former FBI paranormal unit agent, who is so she's the girl from A Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, but with magic witch powers.
Yeah, that sounds about right. She's not in this much, but she does rescue Jeff Bannister from himself.
Ben Percy is not a complex man. Jeff Bannister is the dude, but he works for the CIA. That's Jeff Bannister. Ben Percy is just doing what Chris Claremont did, and we aren't getting mad at Chris Claremont for doing this stuff, but for some reason, some people get mad at Ben Percy for doing it. I don't understand.
So for anyone that wants to read these 4 issues, it is an Alpha #1 and an Omega #1 for 1 and 4, and then the in-between issues are Ghost Rider Volume 10, number 17, and Wolverine Volume 7, number 36. This is notable for the introduction of Bagra Ghul, initially hosted by a kid named Bram Staub.
I want to be clear. His name is Bagra Ghul, like ghoul, like he's a ghoul.
Yep.
Ben Percy is channeling stupid comics here. He knows what he's doing.
He is channeling quite a few things here. So Bram starts off as a young man who is brought to the Xavier mansion, and this is during OG Claremont.
But I can tell you exactly when this is. This is right after Dark Phoenix Saga, because the roster only makes sense right after Dark Phoenix Saga.
Yeah. And so Charles takes one look at this kid and is like, oh, yeah, we can't take this particular orphan. Please send him home.
Also, he's not a mutant. Something's weird with this kid, but he's not a mutant.
I'm going to recommend you to Doctor Strange or somebody.
Do you know Steven? Steven can handle this one.
Yeah, you need to go home right now. And we learn very quickly via flash to the present and to the past that Bram is essentially he's watched quite a bit of Hannibal and is doing the Hannibal human sculptures that we saw in that show. Percy and Jeff Shaw are definitely referencing that with this, and it's gruesome. There's these people just turned into these disgusting art sculptures. And there's a reason for that, which we'll see later in this story. But Jeff Shaw, I think this is a good opportunity to talk about how glad I am that he did all 4 issues of this, because it gives a consistency to the story.
It really does.
Absolutely killing the art here. It's really good.
It is really good. It's also not even close to the best Jeff Shaw art. I was a little disappointed the first time I read these, because I was like, Jeff, I was expecting a bit more. I know you can do more than this.
Mm.
Like I've read a lot of crossover. I know you can do more.
So, because of this kid, this is also supposed to be the first time in flashback that Wolverine and Ghost Rider meet.
Sure.
Which, okay, I don't
Why
really
not?
care. I don't care about that. But it means that the two of them have this connection through this kid. And it does appear as if in the present, 20 years later, the kid is not a kid anymore. But the weird murder sculptures are coming back.
So Wolverine finds Ghost Rider, who, by the way, he had spent like 5 minutes with before this story, like talking about this kid. And then he's like, we have to go back, Johnny. We have to deal with this. This is our unresolved stuff. And I'm like, hold on, Logan.
Yeah.
You
bumped into each other in a road once.
But like, I get it. You've got
Sure.
to do things. And you just quit Krakoa, so you're kind of walking around dealing with that. They find a terrible sculpture in the bathroom of a minor league baseball team.
I feel so bad for this guy. He's just taking a leak and like all of a sudden he's been turned into like a popsicle stick. It's terrible.
Well, and so here's the thing. Noted minor league baseball fan me.
Yeah.
They are claiming a significant amount of people are at this minor league baseball game. And I've been to sold out minor league baseball games, and there were not 10,000 people there.
Well, they are smaller stadiums generally, so that's not usually the case. But okay, whatever.
It's fine. It's fine. They go on a quest. Jeff and Talia team up while Wolverine and Ghost Rider team up. Eventually, they uncover something called the Hellfire Program.
Can I ask you a question? There was a scene in this story that did not make sense to me. And
okay.
As they're doing the quote-unquote detective work, they do find another kid being held hostage by a guy who's been investigated and then let go. I didn't understand why they were there or what that had to do with the story or how it led to anything else. Did I miss something?
No, I don't think you did.
Because they open a closet and there's a kid basically standing like inside of an unclosed Iron Maiden. And like, that was a weird scene because then it just means Ghost Rider comes out.
No, I think what it was supposed to. Yes, one, Ghost Rider comes out, but two, I think it was supposed to be like because that was one of the orphanages that held Brahm at one point. So they were like, by the way, okay. Brahm had it rough. Like, yes, he is turning people into grotesque human art, but also like things weren't great for him. His parents conceived him on an altar for demons. They immediately come into him, and he's had to deal with the demon inside of him, much like Wolverine has to deal with the demon inside of him, which is general male anger. And Ghost Rider has had to deal with the demon inside of him, Zarathos, a guy I really hate that I've said the name of a lot.
Well, it also turns out that the social worker who's supposedly been helping Bram has also been using him to like euthanize people. So like this kid is seriously messed up. I don't know if it was
using him to euthanize people in so much as she was like, I don't know what to do with this kid. So like if he is going to demon screw up art form somebody, we're going to pick like the best victims we can here.
Sure.
Which is a weird way to do social work, in my opinion.
Yeah. Reason Bram has ended up with Project Hellfire is because they have promised him that he can finally be rid of the Bagram Ghoul. And this ends up creating a new version of Wolverine that is now getting its own solo series, sort of.
Getting its second solo series because, buddy, this is the Helverine.
Yes,
Let me tell you about the Helverine. The Helverine exists to sell a Helverine action figure. That's what it exists for. And I love that.
I can't argue with that. I mean, the Helverine is Wolverine, but his skull is on fire. But the flames form the fins of the Wolverine mask.
And, so important, so are his claws. He has hot claws. And here's the thing. When Charles Soule put Hot Claws into a comic for the first time, it was bad and dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I love these Hot Claws.
Well, these Hot Claws are not just like...
this is going all the way.
They're on fire. They are fire claws.
This is Hot Claws was like, we're going to make Wolverine into this new thing that's going to stick around forever. He's going to have Hot Claws as he comes back when he gets really angry. And that's stupid. But hey, we're going to make Wolverine Ghost Rider. That goes all the way past stupid into whatever. Let's just go, man. Let's just have fun. Let's not try and do a self-serious story here. That's the thing. Ben Percy writes all of this stuff. Ben Percy is writing it straight. That's the thing. He's writing all of this as serious as possible. But it's so inherently dumb and goofy and stupid that, like, it circles back around to fun because I know he knows what he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is beautiful.
Very much in line with the Howard Mackie action movie silliness that we were just talking about with the last story. You know, we're doubling down on everything at the end here where, you know, we finally have to put this ghoul to rest. And so we're getting the superheroes fight. We've got the kid after he's lost the demon wants it back. So, you know, it all comes into this culminating climax of fighting, and it's fun. I thought it was good.
Wolverine loses the Wolverine powers. It goes into a demon, back into the demon, into the boy, and they turn themselves into a statue. All the statues are, by the way, they're tributes to Mephisto.
Yes, because Mephisto wanted some art as tribute to himself. So
love that. Honestly,
it's a nice note.
Like that is the most okay. Yeah, you needed an excuse for why there's a demon making weird art. Well, Mephisto's a weirdo, guys.
Mephisto is basically just bored, and he's like, "I need a new way to be entertained." Oh, let's try this, and like that makes sense.
What he should do, if he really wanted to be entertained, what he should do is try and convince some people on the internet that he's going to be in a TV show, and then not do it, and see them struggle for weeks and weeks to justify what they know has to be true.
Zach, I hope you're aware that Agatha all along did name drop Mephisto. So we're one step closer.
Oh, no, they shouldn't have done that.
Yep.
I don't want these friggin' nerds to be happy. Also, this is my other Ghost Rider thing. Mephisto's bad. Mephisto's a bad character. Like, he's the devil. Like, we get it. But you're not Proust. You're not, the guy who wrote Milton, John Milton. You're not that. Unless Mephisto is fighting the Silver Surfer, I'm not interested. Somehow the devil fighting Space Jesus, I'm back in.
I'm okay with
like him just doing demon stuff.
Daredevil
I'm like, whatever.
Mephisto. Yeah.
Never mind. That's also good. Daredevil. Here's the thing. I actually don't care about all the demon stuff in Ghost Rider. Like in general. Once it becomes like demons and all this stuff, I kind of get lost a little bit. Sure. When there's a guy on a motorcycle doing vigilante stuff, I'm back in.
Yeah,
that's what's fun for me.
Yeah.
Like, because I can get demon stuff everywhere. I can't get Motorcycle Skeleton Man.
Yeah. So
this is a fun comic. It's not like the best, but it's fun.
No, I agree. It's fun. And if you do like the Wolverine design and aren't aware, they have brought this character back, though not with Logan, but with Daken. So
yeah, he's Wolverine now.
Yeah.
I just read that series.
Fun pitch.
Hey, that series is one, it's just Ben Percy writing more of his Wolverine series, like cards on the table. That's just what the next arc of his Wolverine was going to be, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's him fighting Cenobites from Hellraiser.
Yep.
Cenobites that were conscripted by the U.S. government. Because you know the Pentagon, right, Adam?
I'm aware. It's 5 sides.
Yeah. Well, under it is the base of Project Hellfire, the Pentangle.
Right.
That is... Wolverine is a comic... Wolverine is a comic about the Secretary of Defense being complicit in America cutting a deal with hell itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And that starts in this arc too. Like this Project Hellfire thing is really kind of interesting because you do have, what is this guy? Is it
Father Pike?
Who
he's like a freak.
He's
Great
crazy.
design.
I mean, he's just this like warlock walking around in this hood and he's casting spells and it's like, but he's also a bureaucrat and you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of fun. So anyway, I like this.
It's pretty good.
I would go so far as to say I might have liked this better than the other two that we talked about this week. What about you?
I also did. It's I love dumb comics so
Yeah.
much. And I mean that with so much respect
Yeah,
to
I like.
everyone who's doing it. Like I like when I can tell that they're doing a fun one.
Yes. So I'm working my way up the list, and
How do you feel about it compared to Weapons Plus World War IV?
I like this probably a smidge more, but Weapon Plus World War IV is pretty funny.
The thing about World War IV is that it's just Annihilation, and I'm on an Annihilation kick right now, buddy.
Oh, me too. I'm about halfway through Absolution. I'm enjoying that very much.
I am also about halfway through Absolution. You've had the book for like 2 weeks longer than me, though.
Well, you read faster than I do, and
That's fair.
Anyway, this is not better than a 439 Colossus God's Country.
Is it better or worse than Dark X-Men Volume 2?
I like this more.
Book.
I like this more. I don't know if I would put it ahead of R.I.P. Greg Hildebrandt. We have X-Men 2099 Oasis at 440. I don't know if I'd put it above that, but I think this could be a good 441.
I think this is a great 441. Adam, I'm so glad that Ghost Rider Wolverine Weapons of Vengeance is now on the list. Here's the thing about comics is that I love them.
Yeah.
Like this morning, I was having obviously anxiety.
Sure.
Because of election.
Yeah.
But I found out that my library just had the latest Tokuban of Chainsaw Man. So I spent my morning reading the latest adventures of my friend Denji, the Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, and you were kind
what?
enough to text me some explanations of Chainsaw Man's whole deal. So thank you for
glad
that.
I could poorly explain Chainsaw Man to you. Adam, here's the thing. Chainsaw Man is spiritually the same as Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
Just
that was the closest thing that made
heart,
me want to read it. You know,
it is like it is very much a manga,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no denying that it is a manga. But one, the artwork is insane, like truly one of the most phenomenal artists working in comics. Period. Also, it's got a lot of heart, and also it's got a guy who has multiple chainsaws.
I mean, come on,
one of them's in his head. Adam.
Yeah. I think he has like a dog with a chainsaw on its head too, right?
You're talking about Puchita.
That's a ghost dog, though.
The dog's not around anymore.
Okay, got
also,
it.
the dog may be the actual chainsaw devil, and the dog also may be his heart.
Wow, cool. Cool.
All of this is like the first volume, so I'm not spoiling anything about Chainsaw Man here. But like, Puchita is great, and he is Denshi's only friend.
Maybe I'll pick this up. You're making me very curious.
Adam, here's what I'd say.
Yeah.
You should read at least through the Katana Man arc, which is like the first like big chunk of the story. It's not the first full volume, because if you get to the Katana Man arc and you're like, this isn't for me, I'll say fine, that's good. If you get to it, I feel like you're going to say, I want to know more about what's going on. Like,
does Katana Man have a katana sticking out of his head, please?
Yes, he does.
Oh,
yes.
thank God.
Yes, Adam.
Okay, great.
Yes, Adam, he absolutely does.
Good.
And the resolution to their fight is one of the most bonkers things in comics that makes total sense. And it's one of the, you know, when you're reading a comic, Adam, and largely a Ghost Rider comic, let's be real.
Sure. Yep.
And Danny Ketch and or Johnny Blaze or Robbie Reyes does something that's so cool that you just have to like stand up and be like, woo!
Yes.
That's what happens.
Okay.
That's what happens.
All right.
It's all the kids are talking about Chainsaw Man these days, and I guess I'm one of them. Chainsaw Man's not an X-Men character though, so he can't be on this list.
No.
But do you know who can be on this list?
Who?
Whoever our patrons want that is semi-X-Men related. Like, again, we just
true.
did a whole episode about Ghost Rider.
Uh-huh.
You know us at this point. We're 500. Are we? No, we're 300. Dear God, if we could hit 500 episodes, that's too many. We're 368 episodes into this show. If you don't know that we'll just kind of stretch the limits of this show to fit what we feel like doing or what you have given us $5 to do, that's fine. Except for Alpha Flight. That's going to be a hard pass. I just don't want to. There's no good reason around it. I just don't feel like reading Alpha Flight.
Well, thank you, patrons. Please be a patron. Go to patreon.com/Battle of the Atom.
Yes.
Zach, anything you want to plug or?
No, I got nothing, man. I got nothing. I got to read Ghost Rider 2099 and Absolution. That's what I've got going on.
Nice. I am going to plug an article I wrote for Halloween that I still thought was really fun. I don't know if anybody saw this, but I did horror movie selections from the X-Men that I thought turned out pretty funny. So if you have a second, check that out. You can always follow on socials. It's Arthur Stacy at Twitter, Adam Reck on Instagram, and Blue Sky. And Zach, I believe we are coming back next episode with a promised theme from the past.
We're going to do the Dr. Nemesis one.
Yes, we are coming back and doing that Dr. Nemesis episode.
But until then, folks, this has been Battle of the Atom. We hope you survived the experience.
Get it!